Good morning and happy Tuesday. So today we're going to be looking at two examples in our first video, and those will be on order of operations with E3, and then also applying that knowledge to surface area of a prism or a rectangular box. So these are the dimensions, and we will use a formula that I'll be writing here, and then you'll have some time to practice each of these skills on the next two slides. The second video that we'll be doing today is related to annotations and writing rational numbers or integers based off of that. So please make sure that you watch each of the videos to make sure that you have learned each of the skills and that you are making sure you're on the right track for those. So to begin with, we're going to review the order of operations. Order of operations means the order that each expression should be solved based off of the different things that you see happening. So this order triangle is the way that we can help to kind of organize what it is that we do first, second, third, and fourth within an expression that has a lot of stuff going on. So to begin with, we have P, which stands for parentheses. Parentheses look like this, and if there's anything happening inside of those parentheses, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, exponents, anything that's inside of the parentheses is the first thing that needs to happen, because the parentheses basically work as a magnifying glass for that section of the expression. The next focus is on exponents. Exponents represent repeated multiplication, not repeated addition. And so if you have something like 5 to the third power, then that would mean you're repeating a multiplication with 5s 3 times. So that'd be 5 times 5 times 5, which is 125. We haven't seen those yet, but we will start seeing them tomorrow in our lesson. The next priority is multiplication and its inverse, division. And they are equally important because they are inverses of each other. So that means if we see multiplication and we see division within an expression, it depends upon where they are in the expression, since they're both equally important. And then finally, addition and subtraction are inverses, and so they have the same priority, but they have the lowest priority of all operations. So anytime we see addition or subtraction that are not within parentheses, it's the least important operation, and therefore the last operation or operations that we'll do in an expression. All right, so let's begin. E3 has no exponents, but it does have parentheses, which is the highest priority. Now there's a 3 in front of the parentheses, and there's a 2 plus 4 inside the parentheses. So when we see P at the top of the triangle, that means inside. So this will be added. So if we add 2 and 4, that's 6. And then I need to copy and paste everything else that was in the expression. So I'm going to put the parentheses around because there's this 3 right outside of it. We'll talk about what that means in a moment. The 15 comes before the 3 and then subtracts whatever answer we get from this. And we're also going to divide this answer by 6 and subtract 4.25. So there's a lot going on in this expression. All right, the next thing we'll do is exponents, which we don't see, so then multiplication, division. Now, when you see a number juxtaposed or right next to parentheses, that is implied multiplication. It means 3 groups of 6. And so we're going to do multiplication. And we also see division happening, and that's equally important. Since it's next to it on the right, it's going to be the next thing that happens. So we'll multiply by 6, then we're going to divide by 6. Now, just a quick note, if you multiply something by 6 and then divide by 6, you're going to end up with the original number. So after we multiply and then divide, our answer actually is going to be 3 for this entire thing. So let's show that over here. 3 times 6. That's 18. And then after that, we divide by 6. The number of 6s that go into 18 are 3. And so the answer to this entire part is going to be 3. And then we're going to take that away from 15. And then after that, we'll take away 4.25 from the result. And I say that because they're both subtractions. And so then I have to go from left to right within the expression. So we're in our last operation, types of operations, subtraction, and it always goes from left to write. So 15 minus 3, which is 12, and then minus 4.25. Now, it's always a good practice when you have decimals and other decimals, or decimals and non-decimals, like what we have here, that you write everything with the same decimal placement. So our answer is going to go here, but I'm going to show my work lining it up over here. So this is part of E3. And you'll want to show it on your paper as well, maybe right next to it. So I showed this off on the side because I didn't have space. This one I want to show because I don't want to make any mistakes. 12, taking away 4.25. Well, the 4 is a whole number, so it goes with the 12. The 0.25 comes afterwards. But I can't take 0.25 away from nothing, so I need to show that there's 0.00 here, and then I could do my regrouping. So 0 would need to regroup, but I can't. So this 0 would have to regroup, which it can. 2 can become a 1. 0 becomes a 10. But then I'm going to cross out the 10 and make it a 9. So this can become a 10. That way the 10 can subtract the 5, the 9 can subtract the 2, and the 1, which we'll borrow from here and become an 11, will subtract the 4. 10 take away 5 is 5. 9 take away 2 is 7. Decimal. 11 take away 4 is 7. And then since I did a lot of complicated work here, I'm going to make sure that I'm correct by checking by inverse. 7.75 plus 4.25. I get 10. Regroup again. 11, 12, and the decimal in between. So that checks out. So this is going to be my final answer. And this just proves that I was right. So 7.75, 7.75. All right. Now we're going to apply the order of operations to finding the surface area of a prism. And now the surface area of the prism is found by finding the area of the front and then doubling it, because also on the back is the same size rectangle. Finding the area of the side. And since there's a right and left side of this box, we're going to double that as well. And then finding the area of the top and doubling it because there's also a bottom. To find the area of each of those rectangles, we multiply the length that find them. So for the green area, we multiply length times height. So the height is 2, the length is 9. So I'm going to put the formula first. H multiplied by L. And then the next one is the blue. That one was W and H, because the H is over here. It's also over here. This is the H. This is the H. So we have H and W multiplied. And then on top, we have the length, the 9, and the width, the 5. So this is length times width. And so we see each of the 3 letters is paired up for each of these. So we see H and L together, and then H and L separated with a W for each. And so this all together doubled will give us the entire area of this whole box. So you can imagine all of the space it would take you to cover this box with paint. That's what this would help us to find. So the next step is I'm going to substitute everything that I know. This is going to be 2 times H times L. H is 2, L is 9, so that's 2 times 9. H is 2, and W is 5, so that's 2 times 5. And make sure that you're being careful with putting a dot that's in the middle. If you can't find a dot that's in the middle on your keyboard, it's okay just to put an X, but don't put a decimal because these are not decimals like these numbers over here. And then L is 9, W is 5, so this last one is 9 times 5. You shouldn't end up with the exact same numbers in each of these unless some of the lengths were exactly the same. So it should be 3 distinct pairs of numbers. The order of operations says to do the parentheses first. So that means everything inside these parentheses has to happen before anything outside. And then within the parentheses, exponents would have to happen first, which we don't see. Multiplication or division would have to happen next, which we see 3 of. And each of them is separated by additions, which means since those are the lowest priority within the parentheses and within the triangle in general, we can actually find each of the answers separately and then add them right after that. So this is 18. This is 10. And this is 45. We will add each of those together, and then we will double it. Because this means 2 groups of all of this. Because we have 2 of the 18s, front and back, 2 of the 10s, right and left, and 2 of the 45s, top and bottom. Okay, so then I'm going to add all 3 of these together. Since they're all addition, we can just show our work on the side. So SA, and for you, you could just show your work on the side and then make sure it's still in the image. So for SA1, I'm going to add 18, 10, and 45 all together. There's no subtraction, so I don't need to worry about that. That's 13, carry, 7, so 73. So this is 2 groups of 73. If I double 73, then I will get 146, because I'm doubling the 3. There's no regrouping, so then I'm just doubling the 70, which is 140. So 146 is our final answer. Make sure it's boxed. Make sure that you have your name inside of your box here, your picture, and your name inside of this picture. And we'll put our answer here. Since this is area, it is the number of little squares that it would take to cover all of the outside. So this is 146 square. And we don't have, we do have units, inches. Okay, square inches. If it doesn't fit, you can always abbreviate. The abbreviation for square inches is SQ.IN. Square inches. Okay, I look forward to seeing you in the next video talking about annotations and rationalization.